Why do the 49ers start slow? They have started slow 3 seasons in a row, maybe for different reasons. Or maybe there's something that ties it all together. What do you think?
It's a good question because I actually think they ought to copy what the Rams do and value the end of the year a little bit more, especially as they add more games, and sit their guys in the preseason. They haven't done that though, right? They play their
Mm.
guys in the preseason, so they really shouldn't start slow. So why do they start slow? Ah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Is it the way they go about the play calling? Is it have to do with the way they practice? Is it just that they're playing so many games late in the year that I'll say this, like for basketball, you see a team that gets to the finals, they have a hard time kind of revving it up for the regular season. Maybe it's the Niners' success or continuous trips to the postseason makes it so they don't get fired up in the first month of the year. I'm not really sure what it is. I don't have an answer.
I'm trying to piece some things together. What I've noticed the last 3 years is they've had serious injuries at running back early in the year. Raheem Mostert got hurt week 2, 2020 against the Jets. He got hurt week 1, 2021, and Elijah Mitchell got hurt week 1, 2022. So I feel like part of the reason the Niners have kind of struggled to find an identity early in the year is they lose their starting running back immediately, and then they're so predicated on running the ball that they've kind of been floundering around trying to figure out what they do. In 2020, Mostert never really came back. Debo never really came back, and they sucked. In 2021, Debo sort of became a running back and carried him. And in 2022, McCaffrey came. So this year, they should be fine if McCaffrey's okay, theoretically. If McCaffrey's healthy and he can make it through the season, they should be fine. But if he gets hurt week 1, the Niners are back and they're like, what do we do? Like, well, now we need Elijah Mitchell to stay healthy. Now we need Jordan Mason to be like an every down player. And they could all of a sudden be like in an identity crisis. I think they go as their running back goes.
That's interesting. I was going to say, if there's anything I can point to, at least thinking back to the Bears game last year, the Niners defense is got a lot of great talent on it. And I think they emphasize early, guys, let's fly around, play with energy, and make plays. But then look at that game. They had stupid penalties, and they didn't tighten their focus. I think it takes them. They want to see guys fly around and make plays, and then when guys overstep their bounds and create penalties with late hits, they go, guys, we need to tighten our focus. And they tighten their focus and they get better. They need to speak it into existence earlier this year. Tighten that focus from the get-go, because the reality is it's a two-team, in my opinion, it's a two-team NFC, and you want that game in San Francisco, not Philadelphia. And that means you got to tighten your focus and play your A game, not just energy and not just flying around and not just playing hard. You got to play hard, but play smart and do it from week 1 on.
I got another one. The Niners are among the best teams in the league at game planning mid-season. When Kyle Shanahan knows what he has and knows what you have, he usually out-coaches you, usually, unless he gets in his own head or whatever. He did it like 12 weeks in a row last year. But early in the year, I mean, forget about his own identity crisis on offense, not quite knowing what he's got. But if he doesn't know what you have, if he doesn't know your team, know your coach, like week 1, they lost to the Bears last year. It was a brand new coach in his first game. I think Kyle didn't know exactly what to expect, and you didn't have his best effort. They also lost week 3 to freaking Nathaniel Hackett in his third game as a head coach. He sucks. But if Kyle knows you, he usually can coach well against you. If he doesn't know you that well, if it's early in the season, if you're still figuring yourself out, whatever they talk about it. They're very specific in how they prepare. He shows the players all the fronts they're going to see. He tries to show them everything they're going to see in the game so they can counter it. If he doesn't really know, they can get out prepared, out schemed early.
It may have something to do with their quality control, not you, but in their actual quality control guys, in that so much of what they do in their run pass fusion is set up by what they've done this week, and maybe they get to a certain catalog of plays, 7, 8 games in, they can establish tendencies and then self-scout and work off their tendencies, and maybe they're running things out of a certain formation. Now they're getting more big plays because they're doing such a good job of kind of self-scouting and going against their tendencies, and maybe that leads to big plays later in the year. But they definitely, whatever it is, they ought to talk about it and try to eradicate it, because the one bye system where only one team gets the bye and only one team has. I mean, that home field is going to be, and it's going to be huge. I mean, if you say, can the Niners beat the Eagles this year? They got a hell lot better chance of beating them.
Thank you.
If that game's in Santa Clara than Philly.
And they already got to go to Philly once. Like, they have 5 cross-country trips. You really want to give yourself 1, 2, 3 more? I don't think you can. Honestly, this regular season schedule is so difficult that if the Niners are like a wild card team and they have to run the table on the road like they tried to do 2 years ago, they're just going to run out of gas. Teams will. Teams tend to. So, got to find a way to not start slow. Yeah,
unless you're just worlds better than everybody else, you know, and that's not really reality in the NFL. Everybody's pretty closely grouped. Home field means a lot. And, but that's all I can figure. I mean, maybe hone in your focus, get your play calling down, get your mismatches established. Maybe, I don't know, because the only thing is you can't put anything on film in the preseason because nobody really buys into that. So it's all based on, you know, what do teams think you're going to do? And I think Kyle has a great advantage as the weeks go on of, hey, we'll do something in week 4 and week 6, and then we're going to bust it out in week 9, and we're going to flip it around the other way, and we're going to get a big play out of this. I think he's really good at that kind of thing, self-scouting and kind of, you know, planning for the entire season. But maybe that works against him in the first month.